And we're live. Welcome to the Team Tank Podcast. This is the Playoffs Outsiders. I am represented by myself. Right, we have with us. We have a couple morning Clippers fans after two of the tougher home losses in playoff Clippers history, right?
The two toughest, yeah. Like in terms of home losses, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be right there.
Because the other two were on the road. That Game 5 in Oklahoma City and that Game 5 in Phoenix, those are road games.
Right. I was really rooting. I was legitimately rooting for the Clippers tonight. We'll get into that later. We'll talk about that a bit later. But just about the game in general. We'll give you guys each scale from the game. Craig, you can start. But what are you taking away? Like, what are you looking forward to most for Game 6?
Wait, you just broke up a bit. What did you say?
I'm echoing a little bit. I can't even hear it myself.
I feel like we're in the Grand Canyon.
We really are.
We're through the abyss. We're coming through the black hole right now.
It's because we're talking from so far away. I'm coming across the whole Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes time to carry.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, Craig
That's how
is
the
in
internet works, isn't it?
You guys chat amongst yourself for a bit. I'm gonna go grab myself a microphone and see if that clears it up. But yeah, Craig, talk about your takeaway from Game 5, looking ahead to Game 6.
Well, everything seemed to break for the Spurs. And the Clippers played their arse off, or the starters did at least. But they couldn't hit shots from three. The Spurs hit everything. Boris Diaw killed me like 4 times on broken plays.
Boris Diaw was 0 for 10 from 3 and then hit that corner 3 to put them up like 7 late, right?
Yeah.
And then he hit that stupid turnaround jumper after the loose ball with the shot clock buzzing because the Clippers need Boris Diaw to beat them after, what was it, Patty Mills was 3 for 4 from 3 or something, or 4 for 5 or something stupid.
Yeah, Patty Mills been fire.
Yeah.
In the post game, someone asked Pop about Patty Mills, and he's like, "Oh, both teams have scorers off the bench. Like if you took Crawford off the Clippers, they'd be worse. Like if you took Mills off the Spurs." And I'm like, would they have really been worse tonight if you took Jamal off the team? Really?
No, because Jamal had to play deep. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about that.
I can't believe they had him in for defensive possessions at the end, and they had Barnes off. That was like the biggest thing that I'm like, that's pissing me off.
Didn't the Clippers make their run with Crawford off the floor?
When?
Pretty much the end of the game. Weren't they down by 6?
They brought Barnes back on after Redick fouled off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But they should have been going Barnes Redick. Because that's their best lineup on defense. And if Crawford's not hitting shots, then why would you have him doing Barnes?
Watching him try to guard Tony Parker, and then I don't even, the phrase I'm about to say, and the phrase I'm about to say is so amazing that I'm even about to say it. They try to hide him on Kawhi Leonard. Like, out of all the places to hide Jamal Crawford, hey, Jamal, we know you've had trouble guarding wing players in the post all year. Just guard Kawhi. You'll be fine. We're not going to get him the
first play, like literally the very first play, they put Jamal on Kawhi. Duncan caught the ball at the high post and told Kawhi to go into the post, handed him the ball, and walked off to the other side of the court.
Like I tweeted this after the game. Actually, I probably tweeted like 15 minutes ago, but it's true. It's like, when you're playing the Spurs, you have to beat the Spurs, but you can't beat yourselves. Like, so many teams, they do one or the other and never both, and that's like the Clippers. I hate to say this because the Spurs are so legitimately great and obviously one of the greatest franchises of the last 20 years, right?
The greatest.
Arguably, yeah, probably.
Hey. Whoa.
Last 10 years. Last 10 years.
All right.
But with the Spurs, though, like, it's crazy. You cannot beat yourselves. They basically stay in games by just being as good as they are, and then beating you late because you don't execute like they do.
So the first 14 minutes of the game, 2 minutes into the second quarter, the Clippers had dominated the game for 11 off the 14 minutes.
Yep.
At the 14-minute mark, the Spurs led by 1, or like were tied.
Yeah, because they had like that 15 or something run.
It was that, I mean, again, I'm saying this purely as an outsider here, but what I was completely lost about, or what I gleaned from a few of the possessions where it just seemed like the Clippers had the ball on one side of the court, and like what makes the Spurs so tough to guard is that as that ball is swinging around, it's swinging around to 4 great shooters on the perimeter, whereas like with the Clippers, it would swing around to 1, 2, and then that third or fourth pass was either going to Griffin or DeAndre, and that ball just quite as toughly, as ridiculously, and it was just, I mean, if you're Doc, it's not like you're not going to have both Griffin and DeAndre in there at the same time, but that's a slight design flaw in today's NBA with those 2 guys.
Well, it's funny. It's like any time they ran the pick and roll, they got whatever shot they wanted. And then when they tried to run, which I can't fault him because he's great at it, like when they tried to run Redick off the curls, they weren't getting as good of looks.
That's because Kawhi was guarding him.
Exactly. Like Kawhi Leonard's defense just on Redick this series has been game-changing. Like Redick didn't take a 3 because Kawhi's on him.
Redick had to do so much stuff curling and going into the lane rather than spotting up because Kawhi's too good at just getting his hand there.
Yeah, and that's just how it is. I mean,
and Redick was still good. Redick was good today.
It doesn't help that Kawhi's arms are so long that like after a shot, if you wanted to give him a high five out there in Australia, you just had to reach out a little bit, right?
But he doesn't even have to get around a pick. When he's chasing Redick, he can go on the other side of the pick and still contest the shot.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like his arms are ridiculously long and his fingers just like seem to extend even further.
And like I can't hate the Spurs. Like that's actually like the thing that sucks about this series. Like I can't hate them.
I can completely disagree.
Well, you can hate them.
Agree with that one. Wholeheartedly disagree.
You can hate them. I can't.
My thing with the Spurs is it's like this deep-rooted thing. Like, and we'll talk about this here in a second when we talk about the whole Lakers-Clippers fans dynamic, which I find beyond stupid. But like, with the Spurs, I grew up. My developmental years in the NBA rooting for the Lakers were right when the three-peat Lakers were going on, right? And in all of those years, you had to worry about the Spurs. In all of those years, for the most part, you saw the Spurs. And as Lakers were going, and again, this could be retroactive extreme fandom, but as that was going on, I always heard from ESPN, this could be the year the Lakers lose, this could be the year the Lakers lose, but for whatever reason, they never wanted to count out the Spurs. Now, historically, we found out why that all was going on, but like, back while it was going on, the Lakers were in the midst of a three-peat, and they're talking about how, yeah, in the second year, that somehow this is the year that's going to foil the Lakers. I'm sitting there like, wait, where does that respect come from with the Spurs versus the Lakers? And then all of that, basically, this is a psychological, this is a psych thing for you guys. I'm just going to vent, and you guys are going to just nod in agreement. Just help me out here. I hate the Spurs. I can't stand them. I'll never like them. I'll never be able to root for them. When they were playing the Heat, I was rooting for the referees.
I'm just over Game 5s. I've had like I have like PTSD with Game 5s. Because like even when the Spurs were like looked like they were gonna win by like maybe 7 or more, I was like, at least this wasn't as bad as Game 5 last year. And I put like progress question mark. No, there was no progress. I basically got sucked right back in and just like the Spurs reached into my chest and ripped my heart out when I thought I had nothing left.
It's tough that Game 5 and honestly, Justin, like I'm gonna twist that knife a little bit, but that's a large reason why the Clippers haven't enjoyed playoff success is because of that Game 5 record that you tweeted out earlier, right? Like,
yeah.
You lose Game 5s, you lose series.
Yeah, Game 5 Phoenix, Game 5 Oklahoma City, Game 5 San Antonio. Game 5 Phoenix in '06 was the Daniel Ewing on Raja Bell 3. Last year, obviously, as we all know, there was I don't even want to talk about last year just because there was literally everything that could, like, that was the ultimate Murphy's Law. Like seriously, anything that could go wrong amazingly did go wrong. This year, it wasn't obviously to the same degree, but think about like all the things that went wrong against the Clippers in this game. The basket interference on Matt Barnes that discredited 2 points. The weird Chris Paul technical foul. Diaw hitting a stupid fadeaway with the buzzer. Diaw's 3. The basket interference with Jordan, which it was basket interference. There's no arguing that.
The ball was going in.
The ball was going in, and there's no arguing with basket interference. The Blake Griffin where he got called for a travel and had the layup. Like,
Blake Griffin missing those 2 layups under the rim?
Yeah, Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford, he missed like 4. Yeah, Jamal Crawford getting that breakaway against Tim Duncan, and instead of holding up, goes for the layup and doesn't get the foul call. I mean, which there probably shouldn't have been a foul, but it's just.
And not only that, but like at Wells P, who's a great follow, he has several thousand more follows than I have. So me saying that's kind of worthless, but like, he just tweeted to Mike Trudell. I think Blake also had the angle to throw the lob to DJ instead. Craig and I were talking about this before we went on the pod. Every other situation like that this season that's in, Blake throws that lob. It was shocking to me that he shot that shot.
You know what it was? I think you got to credit Duncan.
Yeah.
Because if you watch it, he barely gets that. Like, he barely gets that ball over Duncan's like fingers. Yeah. So maybe he could have lobbed it to him, but I also think that maybe subconsciously, because you don't know what goes on in guys' minds there, right? Like, everything's so reactionary. You just operate on instinct. Yeah. So maybe if he thinks he's thrown it to DeAndre, maybe DeAndre gets pushed in the back and he goes to the line, and they don't want that.
It was also a ridiculously
and the unfortunate thing.
Inbound pass.
Oh yeah, that was perfect.
It was a ridiculously good inbound pass.
And I hope to God no one asked me if Chris Paul got fouled by Kawhi Leonard. I don't know. I don't care.
I don't think it was. I think he just tripped.
He probably, I don't know. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care.
Now, I kind of wanted to get to.
Also, the other thing, Danny Green had a lane violation on his missed free throw, but that doesn't matter, honestly. You can't give up a rebound there. I don't care.
Austin Rivers.
What I wanted to, and actually, when we were talking about, you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. But what I wanted to talk about, and this is how stupid sports can get, is that, look, at the end of Game 3 and now at the end of Game 5, Blake Griffin had some very obvious fumbles of the ball. Now and this is where the segue comes in. But like, think about how that narrative changes if DeAndre Jordan just lets that ball go, because it was going in. Like that ball was about to go in, and it's stupid that a glance of a pinky with DeAndre Jordan will now alternative Blake Griffin's unclutchedness, right? Can't you guys see tomorrow's headlines on ESPN that, like, yeah, Blake Griffin can't close out games and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. A fraction of an inch.
It's happening now.
The entire. Thank you. So even better. So my segue into this is, what do you guys think? And Justin, I'll let you start with this. What do you guys think about the Clippers that makes the hot takes come out so adamantly and so quickly and so idiotically?
Earlier this year, and I'm answering your question in a way that I already answered earlier this year in an article I wrote. Earlier this year, I wrote an article, and actually Dan Wyke actually read my article because he referenced it on a podcast, which, hat tip to me there, I guess.
Humble brag.
Yeah, right.
Wasn't even humble.
What do you say, Craig?
Wasn't even humble. It was just a brag.
Yeah, it was just a brag. I just bragged for no reason. But it was the article I wrote, like, Clippers should just turn heel, like, like the WWE phrase, just go heel, just be, for lack of a better word, just be douchebags, right? Like, just make everyone hate you. But in there I wrote, the reason I think people hate them is because they went from like when they first got Chris Paul, actually, okay, the year before they get Chris Paul, they're building up this team that is really young and exciting. But then they get Chris Paul, now, oh my God, they're contenders, right? Oh, but they're still fun because Lob City, LOL. And it's like, so people ran with that for one year and kind of the second year. But because they didn't advance past the second round, it was like the hot take basically became, this team's already done. Like they're like 2 years in, this team's already over. They treated them like they were the Miami Heat after LeBron got there without actually realizing they're in the Western Conference. Like, the West isn't easy, man. For God's sake. They're the 3 seed, and they're playing a team that's the 6 seed that is actually the 2 seed. And
it's...
Yeah.
Well, I think just I don't understand it. Where, like, with almost all the other teams in the Western Conference, everybody is really quick to point out, yeah, they're in the Western Conference. Shit happens when you're in this Western Conference. You're going to lose to some really good teams, and some really, really good teams are going to lose early. But for whatever reason, the Clippers, Craig, I don't know if you want to build on this, like right now, like across Twitter right now, the question is, the Clippers have to blow it. How you go from they were dark horse title contenders. If DeAndre Jordan doesn't tip that ball in, you're still thinking of them as, wow, they're going to topple the champions. So now he does tip that ball, and this team can't win. This team can't do it.
Yeah. But I think people don't like how good they've become so quickly, and it also how they put the team together, like the whole basketball reasons thing. They don't think that they built the team. But...
You had to bring that up, like you.
Well, but Craig's right though. Like the thing with the Clippers that made them easy to hate in a way is one, like half the people in basketball Twitter hate Chris Paul for some ungodly reason. Like he's the only guy that tries to sell calls, right? Like he's the only player in NBA history to do this. But the other reason is the Clippers aren't supposed to be good. Like I think people are so used to them being terrible that they got good too fast, and people don't like it. Like they didn't have to earn to be good. Like they just got good, and people hated it.
Now, the obvious thing, like I wouldn't be doing my job as an outsider to point out that the Clippers don't necessarily handle themselves or hold themselves in a publicly welcoming fashion, right? Like that doesn't necessarily help, right? Do you think that pours fire on the hot take-itude?
It could. I mean, it's weird though, because like the Clippers being unlikable thing is only based on people like on basketball Twitter, because there's been like beat writers who write like players like Dan Weinke this year was like players on other teams like them. Like apparently DeAndre Jordan's like league-wide liked by every other like player. Blake Griffin isn't really hated except for like 2 or 3 guys in the league, and one of them Serge Ibaka and punches him in the balls. You know, I mean, it's like most people get along with Chris Paul. You know, it's just I just think it was just the triumph. I think it's just the triumvirate of Chris Paul, Doc Rivers, and people think Blake Griffin flops. Like that's so they got the complainers, but they didn't realize that everyone else complains just as much as them.
It's also that people they still think that all Blake Griffin can do is dunk. Like a small percentage of people who don't happen to watch basketball.
Tonight didn't help.
That and the Chris Paul comments about Lauren Holtkamp. That was another like tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that was thing.
Which I think were insane. It's just me.
You thought they were what?
All right. So I thought the whole blowback from Chris Paul's comments was ridiculous. It was stupid. It was just people hoping that as somebody who's dealt like not even to a minimal or to a millionth of what he's dealt with or what he dealt with after that, but like folks are just out there hoping to find catch you saying the thing that you didn't intend to say. Let that go. Like if that's even part like even an infantile percentile of why people hate the Clippers, you guys are all being stupid.
Like just to do the hot takes. This is okay. So Gary, who's obviously a part of Lakers Outsiders, right? He tweets, "Newsflash: Chris Paul is not the reason the Clippers are on the brink. He's played exceptional basketball all year long." I tweet to him and Blake Griffin, but both will get slammed if they lose because it's true. Like, that's just how it is. Like, superstars get blamed, right? This other guy comes in and goes, not all their fault, but when you have 2 of the top 10 players in the league and are about to exit again, accept responsibility. I'm like, they're playing the Spurs. Are you serious? And then he goes, if that's the excuse you want to use, then by all means, Clippers have bobbled 2 games in crunch time, but okay. But they're playing the Spurs, man.
The Clippers, like Chris Paul, I'll use his example. Chris Paul has never lost a series he's been favored in.
And they weren't favored this series.
I can imagine, like,
exactly.
If you take it back to like gladiator days, right? And you have this up and comer gladiator who just happens to get really, really, really good all of a sudden, but then loses to like the greatest gladiator of all time. People sit over his corpse like, haha, you were ready. Like, what? How does that work?
Like, here's the crazy thing. What's it called? Griffin's averaging some absurd numbers. I think he's averaging 24, 13, and 7 this series, right? And Paul's averaging like 23, 5, and 7 on 53, 41, 95. Like, come on, man.
Them two can't play any better.
Like, if this was any other team in any other series, they'd be pretty much done with the series.
Right. I mean, you guys should be playing Portland technically, right?
And they probably would have swept them or won them in 5. Both of those teams, I'd feel confident of them winning in 5.
Yeah.
It'd be Portland or Dallas, based on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So and I'm pissed, and I'm pissed about that because this is the second and third best teams in the NBA based on net rating.
Right.
And yeah.
No, I understand that ain't there. I really, really do. My thing is, look, I'm interested in the game beyond the game. Like, where did the hot takes actually come from? And then the other thing that I noticed and was honestly like pissed off about after the game was I saw a whole bunch of Laker fans sitting there after the game saying, "See, this is what you get, Clippers." It was because you guys keep on saying like we are LA or like that's the phrase that somehow was coined.
Yeah.
Right. It's some stupid slogan, right? And after that, all I keep seeing, not to name any names, but somebody who is very highly known in Laker Nation, is among them saying, "We are LAM," right? Like for some reason.
I've seen it.
Right.
Wait,
and I'm not
search this. I'm
not gonna. Well, it wasn't the Laker Nation actual account, but for me, it just seems cheap that like some reason, like for me, look. The Lakers are on that pedestal, in my opinion, and you guys might just if you're gonna throw up, do it off camera. But in opinion, the Lakers are on a level right now where they shouldn't feel worried about the Clippers' success. Like that shouldn't matter. If anything, we should welcome it, right? The Lakers fans should welcome it because that only legitimizes the rivalry between the Clippers and the Lakers, which makes it more fun. Wouldn't you say? Like, doesn't it become more fun when the other side gets some ammunition to fire back at you, so that the conversation can last beyond "ha ha, we're good, ha ha, 16 rings," and then the conversation's over?
Yeah, but Lakers fans still go to that argument.
It's stupid. The whole conversation's idiotic. It's congratulations, we have 16 rings. A few of them happen in Minneapolis, but 16, and I don't know, Justin, like, go ahead, Craig.
When people say that, like, I have 16 rings, and then I always, because they do it on Clipper Central all the time, they just tweet me randomly, and I'll always tweet back, "Really? You got them yourself? That's pretty impressive."
Right. And I don't know, Justin, like, wouldn't right now, it's not a rivalry, right?
No, there's no rivalry. Like, I'm tired of hearing this. There's no rivalry. Have the two teams played in the playoffs? No. So
no.
Who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
And like I talked about earlier, where my disdain for the Spurs comes from, and it's from playoff battles. It's been classic, even regular season games. It's been out the other. It's been a national conversation about which franchise was most successful over the last couple decades. Like, that's where a rivalry comes from. And right now, the Clippers and the Lakers cannot be called one, right?
No,
And
here's the thing, and I'm going to sum this up in the easiest way I can. The Lakers are Los Angeles in terms of, like, just think of size. Like, the Lakers are Los Angeles. The Clippers are Rhode Island, okay?
right,
Basically,
they're the Mets.
yeah, like, you're basically pushing down Rhode Island just to make yourself feel better, even though, like, California's going through a drought. Like, we can harken this right to what's going on. California's going through a drought, and that's the Lakers franchise right now. Meanwhile, Rhode Island's getting hit with rain, and California's pissed at Rhode Island because Rhode Island's getting rain that California's not getting. Like, stop your bitching. I'm sorry. Like, just stop. Like, there's no rivalry. There won't be a rivalry until they play in the playoffs. There won't be a rivalry until they're both great regular season teams in the same season for a couple of years. No one cares. The only reason anyone thinks it's a rivalry is because of Chris Paul.
Well, hold on though. Well, I would actually say though that the rivalry would somehow kind of legitimize itself if you guys managed a title win, right? Because the big thing right now is you guys hang selfies, we hang banners.
Which is so dumb. I hate that phrase
right?
so
like
much.
essentially what
They're
they're
not
right now
even
from the
selfies.
Lakers side.
Yeah, they're not even selfies.
Huh?
They're not
No
even
one's
selfies. They're
themselves.
portraits.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not. All right, you guys are shooting the messenger.
No,
this
no,
is legitimately like you.
We know what you mean,
No.
but we hate that phrase because it's like it
It's
makes you
idiotic. I hate it too.
It makes you question the intelligence of the person who says it. It's like, do you even know what a selfie is?
Hold on.
I know you do, Justin. You take a fair few.
I do. I'm the
I
selfie king.
I think though, like if we're talking about you got the nose pick selfie going, right? Like
That's
what's
right.
going on there.
That's right, which I got made fun of, like, which is another story completely. It's like, oh, you put that up as your Abby, really? Like, yeah, who cares?
It's your picture on Clippers Central.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that shows you how much I care about it. Like, it's whatever.
But I just think for me, this Lakers Clippers dynamic, it's a reverse inferiority complex right now from the Lakers side, where the Lakers are so bad. The Lakers, the franchise is in such a pathetic spot that somehow making themselves feel better about the Clippers brings joy to themselves. And for me, as a Lakers fan, a lifelong Lakers fan, we should be above this. We should. We're better than that. Going on after the game, I just kept on saying to myself, this is bullshit. Like, this is as big of an indictment of the entire organization as getting ready for a lottery pick itself. You know, what the Clippers are about to do, we should be celebrating to a certain extent because it makes the rivalry more fun. It does. And rooting for the Spurs, who beat us out of the playoffs multiple times and had an entire national media essentially outwardly cheering to beat the Lakers. Like, if you can root for that, awesome, go for it. But in my opinion, you're a short-sighted, terrible thing about. That's me off my soapbox.
Well, it's funny because it's like, I look at it in like a couple ways. It's a really like backward Schadenfreude by Laker fans, some Laker fans. Like, it's weird because the Clippers haven't won anything.
Right.
Outside of 2 division titles, it's like, what the hell have they won, man? Like, how are you gonna sit there and just get happy because your little brother somehow decided he was actually good one day? Like,
right.
Look, but the other thing is, like, this series is like the equivalent if, I guess, Memphis and Golden State played in like the next round, and Clipper fans were rooting for Golden State or Memphis. Like, you don't care about either one.
Right.
Like, you hate both. Like, why the hell would you root for one over the other?
Well, but for me, I don't know. And again, like, there's the whole, like, I was told by somebody on Twitter today that I'm being closed-minded, which is probably fair. Like, but that's part of being a fan, you know? Like, I can't root for a team that knocked the Lakers out of the three-peat. They ended the three-peat. in the Western Conference Finals and ended that run, and then the Lakers made it back the next year and lost to Detroit. And it's like, I can't root for that squad against a team that really Laker fans shouldn't give two shits about. You know?
Yeah,
And then Craig, you brought up an interesting or a very valid point, I would say, before the show, where you're talking about a very large market, and the NBA should, kind of sort of be rooting for the Lakers to be more legitimate, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, there's some people saying that the NBA rigged it, the officials, to get the Spurs to win. Why would the NBA want the Spurs to win? They've won enough, and they're a small market team. They're not doing anything for the NBA on a global market.
Right.
That's just,
how many kangaroos do you see out there in Spurs jerseys?
With Patty Mills jerseys.
Oh, that's right. That's
son of a bitch.
And what about Aaron Baines? We have Aaron Baines too.
He's alive? Like, do his jerseys just say RIP in the back?
I've never seen an Aaron Baines jersey. I've seen a couple of Patty Mills ones, but I've never seen an Aaron Baines jersey. Baines was actually born in New Zealand, I think, and then he got Australian citizenship.
Fact or fiction, Patty Mills is the kangaroo that haunted my dreams.
No, it was Aaron Baines.
That was probably Aaron Baines.
Yeah.
That was probably Aaron Baines.
Or was it Andrew Bogut? That one's probably better.
I don't want to talk about it.
So,
this series just annoys me. Because it really sucks one of these teams is going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, it just sucks. Like, I've said it all series. It's not like I'm saying it just because the Clippers are down. Like, it's just how I felt. Like, the entire series has just sucked.
Neither team deserves the title of a first-round exit, right? Like, neither team deserves to be fishing after this.
The loser should just get the Bulls or Bucks spot, whoever wins. Seriously, just send them there to play the Cavs.
Losing in the Western Conference Finals, as in quality of play and how hard you have to fight. This is the equivalent of losing in the Western Conference Finals.
Well, it really is. I've said this from the get-go. As soon as the matchup was set, I don't think there's any first-round matchup that boasts the talent of both teams that the entire series has been played with.
Or even second round matchup.
I don't think it's close.
I don't think.
I don't know. Like your guys matchups like when the Lakers were running their three-peat and they would occasionally see like Portland in the second round. Like those were pretty insane. And then your guys' matchups with Memphis were insane in the second round too, right? So
yeah, it's
but I would say
the legend was born. Game 1, 2012.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here.
One thing. If I'm still gonna say if, not when. If the Clippers lose the series, anyone who says they should trade Blake Griffin or Chris Paul should delete their Twitter.
Or not re-sign DJ.
Or not re-sign DeAndre, should just delete their Twitter.
And stop tweeting me and saying you should sign Marc Gasol. You cannot sign Marc Gasol.
All right. Now, there's a difference, though. There's a difference, though, between saying they should or they might.
Right? They shouldn't and they won't.
Like if it would it. All right. Which would shock you more? LaMarcus going elsewhere or DeAndre Jordan going elsewhere?
DeAndre.
DJ.
Yeah, it's DeAndre.
Right. So, like, in that sense, like, I don't know, like, the conversation should be had, but to imply that, like, losing to the Spurs in the first round should make the franchise reconsider the direction of the franchise, that is insane.
Yeah, someone tweeted me the word rebuild. Rebuild, you got 2 top 10 players in the NBA, and you got another 2 guys who are top 40 in the NBA. You've got the best starting 5 in the league.
Okay, like I want people to. I seriously want people to think about this. Okay, like seriously, think about this in the series. You can actually say the series could be over, right? Because the Clippers could have already won the series in 5
Could very
games.
well be over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So think about it like this: the Clippers still won 2 games. All right. So because there's going to Game 6. the Spurs. These are the defending champions. They murdered Miami in 5 games. Murdered Miami. They were a offensive rebound and Ray Allen 3 away from winning in 6 games against Miami the year before. So basically, the Clippers have played as well as the Miami Heat, and sometimes better than the last 2 finals.
Right.
And you're talking about blowing this team up.
Right.
It's not their fault. It's a first-round series. It's still way like the Spurs lost on the last. Like literally, the Spurs are a 2 seed that just happened to lose the last day of the year. Like,
right.
That's all it is.
So if is Craig, I'll start with you here. Are you comfortable giving DeAndre Jordan a max contract, a 5-year max contract?
Because the cap's going up, yeah.
That's all that matters. That's honestly all that matters. Like that's the end of the conversation. Because that's the question, right?
And it's not even like maybe in a vacuum, maybe I wouldn't give it to him, just because I don't think he's as good as his numbers say or all that. But the Clippers can't do anything else even if they don't re-sign him. They're going to be over the cap still even if they don't re-sign him. So why would you not re-sign him? You're not giving yourself any more flexibility. It's not like, do we sign DeAndre Jordan to a max, or do we sign Marcus Gasol to a max, or do we go get LaMarcus Aldridge? It's not like choose between 3 max players. It's sign DJ, or you can sign another mid-level exception who was Spencer Hawes last year. Do you want to sign another guy for the same value as Spencer Hawes? Like, that's what you're getting if you don't re-sign DJ.
I shouldn't do this right now.
You're gonna do it though. You're gonna do it. Go, just do it.
You're both your heads are about to sag a little bit, but you guys could have had Paul Pierce instead of Spencer Hawes.
Craig and I talked about that yesterday, actually.
All right, go ahead.
Like,
yes,
there's conflicting reports on what happened. Like, there's a couple reports like Paul Pierce turned down the Clippers offer, and that's why the Clippers went for Spencer Hawes. Like, Doc just got wind of it early, so they went for Hawes. And then there's a report of, like, the Clippers didn't even go after him. It's like, I don't think we'll ever know what the hell happened until, like, 3 years down the road when Paul Pierce writes a tell-all book about how terrible the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors are.
Yeah, or he gets on a Grantland basketball hour with Bill Simmons.
Yeah. Or the Players Tribune.
The only... I'll write that. I'll wind up being the actual writer for that article. No, but the only thing that always makes things tough when you're talking about Clippers rumors is the hold that Doc has over the local media. It's the same thing that I fight with all the time with the Lakers and the local media. You just never quite know what's actually being reported because you have so many people that are so closely tied, and the organization can so easily manipulate the narrative that is viewed locally, right?
It's not
I'm just saying, I'm like, because I believe enough to have fit in that salary spot, right?
Yeah.
For Pierce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, just mathematically, right? Just mathematically, it has to hurt knowing that Pierce fits into that salary slot, and yet you have Spencer Ross sitting on the bench for this.
Getting DNPs.
You want to play Bizarro? You want to play Bizarro Clippers game? You really want to do that right now? Because I can do it with a scenario that'll blow your mind.
I mean, it's you're twisting the knife in yourself.
Yeah, buddy. It's okay. You ready for this though?
Uh-huh.
Clippers trade Reggie Bullock for Tyler Zeller last year instead of passing on that deal, so they have Tyler Zeller as their rotational third big who isn't expensive. And then this year they end up somehow getting Paul Pierce for the MLE, and they can still end up trading for Austin Rivers just by using like C.J. Wilcox or something, if they really wanted to. Or the even more bizarre one is like they never take Reggie Bullock in the first place. They take Rudy Gobert and then they could just go from there.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a whole bunch.
Then you don't give DJ a max.
and then you don't. Yeah, then you don't give DJ a max, and you save money.
So
now I'm depressed. I did it to myself.
I just hear fans who are saying that I am way too Clipper apologetic, that I support the Clippers too much. I just made 2 Clippers bloggers think about how much better life could be if the Clippers had taken different directions. So you're welcome, Lakers.
No, like the one.
Go ahead.
The one thing that I wanted before the season was just split the mid-level up and go get Ed Davis and like either CJ Miles or Al Farouk Amino.
Yeah,
because both of those guys signed. They all signed for minimums. You could have split their mid-level, made them sign with you because you're paying them double the amount, and all of a sudden you have a functioning wing and a good big man.
Yeah. There's so many bizarro moves you could have made. You still could have done a Reggie Bullock for Tyler Zeller and then still done those moves. That's the crazy part.
Oh, we better get off.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Well, I greatly appreciate you guys hopping on after such a difficult loss. That would have been tough for me to take. We were briefly reminiscing before the show about the Lakers losing after being up 23 in the third quarter and all that stuff. If I would have had a podcast after that, I would have had to have that beat button handy. So thank you, Justin. Thank you, Craig. I'm not gonna lie. I'm saying this as a completely honest compliment to you guys. I was with Clippers tonight, in a large part to my dealings with you guys this season. You guys are really good at what you do, and best of luck moving forward. I'll be rooting for you guys Game 6.
Don't suck up to us, man. Don't suck up to us after a tough night.
It's like you're saying goodbye to us.
I'm trying to help.
Right? I feel like he just read us an obituary. I'm not even dead.
He's just signing the Clippers off.
See, this is all right. Everything I said about Clippers fans, forget it. You guys are the worst. I'm trying to be nice.
You know what, though? I gotta say this. I always appreciate it every time you had me on because it was always fun. It was just you've heard me say it all the time. I don't hate the Lakers. I don't. I don't like some of the fans, but I love you guys, man. It's great.
Yeah,
right, well,
I don't really hate anything.
Go ahead, keep trying to buy good karma after that last retort.
Hey man, I'm still the guy that told you you're getting number 2 of the draft lottery. So remember, I'm that
guy. All right, well, I'll let you guys go. Good luck in Game 6.
Thank you.
See you, man.